Thanks to the support as a channel member, Matthew Wally. My quest to win a match at a video continues. Today, Bayern Munich in the league, Inter Milan, current World Club Cup finalists and Champions League winners who beat us 2 years ago. Last year, 2 years ago, whenever it was. We play both of them. They're both good teams. The reason we don't win in the videos is because I play the big teams in the videos. These are two of the biggest teams around. I'd like to win, please and thank you. Hello and welcome to Club 3, Part 18 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode, we have got those two games mentioned before, Bayern Munich and Inter Milan. But since you were last with me, we have got a few more matches under our belt. I think we got as far as Real Madrid. As you can see, we've won every game since. We did need penalties to beat Hanover. To be fair, it was a rotated team in that game, but still a little bit surprising that we needed penalties. We don't concede a lot of goals. We've fixed the defence. Now we're just doing a normal back four again. And as you can see, just comfortably dealing with all of the locals. We thumped Rangers. We pretty convincingly thumped Benfica as well. And the league tables look like this. Bundesliga, we're 6 points clear of Bayern Munich, who we do play today, but we play them at home. If we beat them, 9 points clear, not even halfway through the season. That would be a jolly nice situation to be in. And then Champions League, 5 games in, and very similarly to last year, we're hovering just outside the top 8. We finished 9th last year and had a frustrating run as a result. We really need to find a way to get ourselves into that top 8. But I look at the top 8, Torino with being the exception, but everyone else in there, maybe Roma is another exception. I look at them and I'm like, well, they're teams we're going to lose to anyway because we're rubbish. How are Torino so good? They must have had a tycoon. Doesn't seem. Oh, they had a tycoon, but it was 8 years ago. This has been a long-term project at Torino. They still haven't actually won Serie A. They came close last year, but they're quite a good side this season, it seems. We don't have to play them. Let's play Bayern Munich. This is the 11. We've got Antonio Carlos in goal, a back four of Van Veen, Suarez, Moorman and Schikowski. Van Eijsma at the base of the midfield with Bellingham and Carrier ahead of him. Morera on the left, Herrera on the right, Big Kev up front. It's very much my first 11. We don't use it very often. We do rotate a lot in the domestic games, in some of the easier Champions League games, but when it's big game o'clock, this is the 11 that we go for. The only position that's potentially even slightly up for grabs, I guess, in this 11 would be centre forward, but Big Kev's in great form. Emil Hiskey is going to take that spot eventually, and the longer this season goes on, the more I'm realising I should have sold Connor Egan to Manchester United for £90 million when we got that offer in the summer. I suspect we're never going to get an offer of that size again because he doesn't really play anymore. But if we do get a big offer in January, expect to see Egan leave. I loved him. I wanted him. He did what I thought he would do, but just like every one of those strikers that's gone before him, they don't last very long, do they? I always like a shiny new striker, and at the moment, Emil Hiskey is the guy that I really, really, really want. But Big Kev's big and called Kev and keeps scoring goals, and he very nearly scored again there, and it's very hard to drop him at the moment. It's still 0-0, 20 minutes or so into the game. Bayern haven't had a shot yet. They are seemingly a little bit shell-shocked, and it's still a very, very good Bayern team. They're probably not really understanding how they won the league 18 years in a row, and now two different teams have won it the last 2 years. Because if you look at their 11, it should be 11 that's still winning. The only thing I can assume is because there's a lot of recognisable real-life names in there, they're probably all getting quite old now. And it's probably a team that is due a rebuild of their own. They've certainly got the money to do it. I mean, when they spent 200 million or whatever it was on Cerulli, they've definitely got money to throw around and are going to be capable of doing their own rebuild when the time comes. When they have their moments, they're still a very frustratingly good team. Right, Carlos starts things up again for us at the back. Suarez to Moorman, who's had a bit of a resurgence this season. He was the guy I was replacing when I signed Suarez, but he's kind of established himself as the partner to Suarez. Garcia got injured at the start of the season and has never really forced his way back into the team. In my head, I was probably going to use him as a left back when we were playing the inverted fullback, but Van Veen has forced his way back into the team and kind of become very important and not really replaceable again. And there he is once again, bursting out of the defence, feeds Big Kev, and now Bellingham kind of takes the sting out of the attack, gives it back to Van Veen. He bursts into the area again. It falls to Moreira, and nothing comes of it. Bellingham that was a fast counter-attack, and Bellingham just kind of stopped it, which is frustrating. I'll level with you. I'm not completely sold on Jude Bellingham just yet. I know we've spent a lot of money on him. We've brought him in. We've made him our captain. He does play well quite often, but I don't know. I feel like the change to system that he forced, I don't know that it's worth it. Part of me's wondering, do we just go back to the 4-2-4 from last season and play Bellingham alongside Van Aanholt? I mean, it would be an impressive 2 back there. Or potentially a 4-2-3-1 and have Bellingham in behind a striker. Either of them would work. The disadvantage, of course, is it's not just Bellingham that this system really suits. Being able to have that 4 behind a striker is very nice. And if we go to either of those other systems, one of those 3 has to drop back out of the team again. And I don't really want to drop any of them out of the team either. So Bellingham being there does allow us to have a little bit more quality around him. And Moorman doing what he did my first season here in Germany. He didn't really score a lot of goals last season, but that first season, he was a huge threat. Very nearly won us the Bundesliga on his own with that run of goal-scoring form he was on towards the end of our first season here at Dortmund. And he's at it again, and it's 1-0, and that is us 9 points clear as it stands currently. And now we've got some tired legs, so let's make a few changes. Big Kev. You know what? Normally I would bring on Hiskey, but Connor Egan against a former club, I think you probably have to, don't you? We can bring Hiskey on the left-hand side, and that way we still get both of them, and then maybe just calm things down a little bit in the midfield by bringing Ayadeli on. And, I mean, this is screaming out for a 4-2-3-1, but I don't really want to switch around too much mid-match. We've still got it on there, so maybe we will just switch to that. Which the players who are on the pitch now, that suits much better. I think that's going to get more out of Van Aanholt as well, and pushes Bellingham a little bit further forward, where hopefully he won't slow everything down the way we just saw him do. But maybe sticking him in there, I don't know. Do I want to go back to this? This might be why we're not ready to win the Champions League yet, because I still don't know what my best team and my best formation is. And that's not ideal. Right, let's bring Maui on. Bellingham's got tired little legs now. So, I guess we go back to a 4-3-3 here. We'll bring Dukic on. And we're just going to switch back to that. And stick Ayadeli deep. And I think none of them are very attacking, are they? It very much is a midfield designed much more to kill the game off rather than create another chance, but we are winning. We're still on an attacking mentality. We're not going to get too carried away with trying to kill the game off, but there's a lot less attacking intent in that midfield 3 compared to the one that started the match. But I think we're going to score a goal with it anyway, because we've won a penalty. Egan's been fouled there. The referee is going to go over to his little telly. As always, got to go the long way round. Can't go direct. Got to loop round in a nice big semicircle. He's having a look at his little telly. In FM24, it'd be really nice if we could see these replays when it happened, because this screen, what's happening now, really boring. But it is a penalty, just like it always is when he goes over to the little telly, and this should put the game beyond doubt and secure us that 9-point lead at the top of the Bundesliga. It's Emil Hiskey, and it's saved. We're not over the finish line just yet. We have won a corner, and it looks like something's going to happen with it, because we're going to get a highlight. So maybe one of the big boys is going to score from the resulting corner. It's aiming at Moorman, but he can't quite get onto it. And now Herrera tries to keep the attack going. It's Hiskey again, and he's just run into trouble, and it's another corner. I don't mind the ball being down this end during this 5 minutes of time added on. This is still the same highlight from that original penalty, second corner we've had off the back of it. It really does feel like something's going to happen. Hiskey with the in-swinger again, looking for Moorman. This time falls to Dukic, and now it's Hiskey again and again. He's given in fact, he's not giving the ball away. He's offside. This is similar. Was it yesterday's episode we played Real Madrid, and we just couldn't score. We seem to have the reverse problem of the problem we had at the start of the season. Start of the season, we were being a bit sloppy defensively. We've fixed the defensive sloppiness. The defence is rock solid now, but we've scored 1 goal from 3.2 XG, and we had the best attack in Europe last year. We need to find the balance, and I don't know, as much as I like Bellingham and the system when it works, I don't know if it's worth sacrificing Egan and Hiskey up front together, who were brilliant last year. It almost feels like we've spent all that money on Bellingham to downgrade the attack slightly. The real test, of course, is playing against a big team. So let's go play Inter. If we beat them, then forget everything I'm saying, because we've arrived. So a couple more wins on the in-betweeny matches. We beat Cologne in the Cup and Union Berlin in Bundesliga. And it's now time for Inter Milan. That's an Inter Milan who, once again, are top of Serie A. They are one of the best teams in the world. They beat us in the Champions League final. They completely neutralised us in the Champions League final. And because of that, we're pulling this one out. I figure, we know how to do it. It's not always going to be appropriate. But I think for today, we need to be both solid at the back. So with the back three of Fontenille, Suarez and Schikowski, but we also need to try and control that midfield. They just completely controlled the middle against us before. So we need those 4 men in the middle with Dukic stepping up. So it could completely backfire and they ruin us, or I might have finally figured out how to counter that horrible, narrow system that always beats me. So it's Antonio Carlos in goal, a back four of Fontenille, Suarez, Dukic and Schikowski. Van Eijma at the base of the midfield with Bellingham and Carrier ahead of him, and then the front three, Moreira, Herrera and Big Kev. This could be quite embarrassing if this goes badly wrong, but watch them not use the tactic. That's the big fear. Are they going to use the horrible narrow thing, or have they got a different manager? I haven't even checked it. The manager might be different. Let's have a look. Is it the horrible narrow? It is. Right. I think there is logic here. This is why we've got to play with the libero today, because we can't counter that. They've got that box of 4 in the middle. We need to counter that with a box of 4 of our own. So we need Dukic to step up. We're then leaving the back 3 to deal with their front 2. And we still have a front 3 to go at their back 4 then. So, I don't know. It makes sense to me. Let's see if it actually works. If it does, your old pal Kev's a genius who spent 1.5 years fiddling with tactics, completely outside of how I normally play Football Manager. But I've spent 1.5 years fiddling with tactics for this moment, the chance to get revenge on Inter. And I thought we were going to score there with a beautiful flowing move that went through the middle. I mean, it's nice to see we've had some possession against them already. We didn't get any possession. That Champions League final, one of the most disappointing Football Manager videos I've ever made. It was just, we were completely neutralised. And we don't want to see any of that today. We want to be in with a chance. I mean, they've still had more. They had more possession than us. We've now had 54% of the possession. We just need a big performance from Big Kev, because he's not going to get many chances today. So when they come, he needs to capitalise on them. And of course, doing this does mean we sacrifice Moorman and the set piece threat that we get from him. So we do need Big Kev to do double duty as both centre forward and guy on the end of the set pieces. Schikowski's pretty useful in those situations as well. Herrera has got in behind the fullback temporarily there. Bellingham now swaps places with him, cuts it back to Dukic. Oh, if he'd have scored that, I would have been the king of the geniuses. What's going on my head? Is that just a loose bit of hair? Or looks like I've got food on my head. It's not moving though. Maybe I'm just highlighting a spot. Or maybe, what is it? I'm trying to get it off. I think I've been bleeding. Brilliant. You can tell I'm getting old. My head just randomly bleeds now, apparently. Have I banged my head on something? I don't know that I have. Right, this is where we have to worry a little bit, because they got against us with just the back 3 in place there, but Fontenille's did brilliantly. He's been a little bit disappointed with the game time he's had since arriving, but this is the role we signed him to play. It's not his fault. We decided to stop doing it, but it's going to be one that certainly second half of the season, as we get more and more into the Champions League, this is a system that I expect to use against the bigger teams. You saw what Barcelona did to us when we tried to play with normal wing backs, but we still need to get that extra man in midfield somehow. And I think this is the route in. And it could just as easily be Ayadeli doing the Dukic role. We've got two guys who can do it. Even Suarez is pretty comfortable playing as a libero, but it makes sense to have a natural midfielder doing it. Although you do sacrifice a little bit defensively, presumably. The problem we've got though is once again we're not making the breakthrough going forward. So it's not, although it's stopping them completely dominate us, we are still struggling to break them down, which is what Bellingham's supposed to be for. But there's Dukic. I am the king of the geniuses. The libero is the spare man, and he scores. There you go, Inter Milan. I'm going to keep calling you Inter Milan as your punishment. I know it's Inter, and I know you hate Inter Milan, but so do I, after what you did to me before. You've derailed me for a year and a half trying to come up with ways to counter you, and we might finally have it. Oh, my word. Please, I mean, I've got a little bit celebratory quite early there. We do now need to hold on. Do I come off the attacking instruction at some point? Suarez doing lovely work there, covering at the back. I mean, he's just an excellent defender. We obviously know a lot about him. We've had him for a long time at Burton, and I still don't understand how we signed him for Burton. I understand more how we managed to prize him away from them because they weren't even in Europe. But why Man United let him sign for us at Burton in the first place, I do not know. This is like we're turning into a team of Manchester United ones that got away here with Carlos and Suarez, two of our key players. Right, Garcia can just swap in at left back and play that exact same role that Fontenills has been playing. Herrera's not really done much today, so we can bring on Conor Egan. He's gonna play as a winger. We're not going to mess around with Raumdeuters, I don't think. And then Carrier can come off for, I think in this circumstance, we put Maui in there and then try and release Bellingham a little bit further forward. Let Maui play the playmaker role and see if getting Bellingham a little bit further forward. I mean, we might even stick him onto that just to get him right up here. We don't necessarily want him drifting wide. We want him getting right up there behind Big Kev and making something happen. And once again, he's not. I'm quite disappointed with Bellingham. Am I using him wrong? Let me know in the comments. How'd you get a tune out of Jude Bellingham? Because this isn't the guy that I keep seeing on TikTok scoring goals every week for Real Madrid. Oh, if that had gone in, I'd be wanting a refund on Antonio Carlos, but he makes the save. It's a corner, and we are going to make our final couple of changes. Hiskey's going to come on this left-hand side. And do we want all of them on attack? We probably don't. Let's drop him back to support. And then we are going to take off Bellingham now. And Ayadeli, can he even do that? He probably can. We're solidifying the midfield up a little bit whilst throwing more and more strikers onto the pitch. We've also made a double substitution whilst defending a corner, which I know you're not supposed to do. But Garcia using his height to get that clear advantage of having another big boy back on the pitch again. But it is Inter back with possession on it. It's made it all the way back to the goalkeeper. I thought that said Ramsdale. Fair enough. I mean, I wasn't expecting to see him today. I didn't notice him when I was looking at the team. I never even glanced at the goalkeepers, but Aaron Ramsdale is the goalkeeper for one of the best teams in the world. What a sentence. Right. Let's just see the game out, shall we? We don't really want this to happen. Oh, see, that's upsetting because, is it offside? That makes it, I can just wipe my tears away. If that's offside, we don't need to have tears. Is that a warning shot? Do we come off attack? Of course we don't come off attack. Attack is the best form of defence. As things stand, look, we're up to 4th. This is a turning point. This is us properly announcing ourselves onto the European stage if we manage to hold on here, because this is revenge for that Champions League final and a demonstration that we might just tactically be able to take on this horrible Inter box that has created so much success for them in recent years. Right, Schikowski forward to Egan, and now Dukic stepping forward out of defence again. He's had an absolutely cracking game. And now Maui couldn't get past his man, but it looks like it's going to fall to Van Aijme. It does. He gives it to Ayadeli, and now Hiskey can't find Big Kev. And Oh, it's back with Hiskey again. They've given the ball away. Big Kev didn't know what to do with it, though. Oh, sometimes his reaction speeds are just a little too slow. And I very occasionally have the thoughts where I'd rather have Egan or Hiskey up there. Oh, they had a big chance. And they're actually ahead on XG. Surely after that they are. We're FMing them at the moment, and I don't care. They did it to me in the Champions League final, and now I've done it back to them. Kev is a tactical genius. We are winning the Champions League this season. I have officially decided. If you enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.